Sexual abuse specifically, and understanding this from a philanthropic lens, even in sobriety or alcoholism, also something that I handle and have seen generational bondage that's happened. So
Sure.
we've chosen to, have a sober home for our family with that intent that we don't want that to be our cycle because we know it's possible, right?
Right.
I think of the sexual abuse 1 in 4, and that 80+% of that 1 in 4 who have been abused, it happens with somebody that they know, like, and trust. And
Right.
so there's all of these pieces to the puzzle that are so broken, and that empathy that is equipping us to then serve other people really does allow us to stand outside of self and stand in a place of true service. I'm curious, with your ethnic background and being from Mexico, I married into the Mexican familia. And I'm so grateful for the heritage that's cultivated in that space. And every time I go to Mexico and I see my grandparents and family that live there, and see the variation between how we live here in America and how they live there, does it give you a heart to like serve your ethnic group or serve back there in another country? Or where's your philanthropic lens really fall?
Well, my commitment is to serve humanity, right? But I realize that many of the issues I suffer permeate in my community. They permeate in disadvantaged communities. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, okay? They're more common in poor Latino and African American communities, okay? Just by the sense of the dysfunction. I think there's a sick sense of comfort in what I call dysfunctional love, okay? It's almost like you overlook how sick, incestuous it is, but it's dysfunctional love. It's still love, okay? I don't want that kind of love. I want healthy kind of love. I want unconditional love. And so to go right back to your question, I see that permeates more in my community. I've seen it, that it has gone on through generations. My heart and my passion is to be able to educate children that have less opportunity and are more prone to become victims of those types of environment, because it permeates in lack of education. It permeates in disadvantaged communities. It permeates in poverty. Okay, when people have a good social background, when they come from a decent economic environment, when they come from an educated environment, these issues lessen because you talk about them. I taught my son very early on that there was an importance in education. There was a incredible importance in communication, and there was an incredible importance in the lack of secrecy. There is no secrets. And I told him very early on, because when we do not pay attention to our children at a very young age, we are creating an environment where they are going to seek to trust someone else other than their parents. And if you create a safe environment at home and you don't permeate secrecy, you don't permeate dysfunction, okay? Distance, this type of sexual abuse, drug use, alcoholism, all of these things decline, okay? The reality is the most people that fall into addiction, depression, alcoholism, sexual abuse is because they're looking for some type of attention, okay? Unfortunately, there's always a perpetrator on the other side that is looking to give the wrong kind of attention, okay? But when you have an open line of communication with your children, you listen to those possibilities. And my heart is to be able to be a greater service to anyone and everyone. But I have a deep compassion for my community because that's where I came from. And that's where I continue to see, I still have siblings, brothers and sisters that think like my parents did, that operate in the same function and mentalities that my parents did. They still stayed in that cycle of dysfunction. And I know I can't change everybody, okay? But I know that if our message gets across and we impact a generation, it's a domino effect that is going to multiply and affect many other generations moving forward.